welcome to It's a Two. I'm Mr. Smash, and I'm here with Senior Splash. How you doing today, sir?
Good man. Happy to be here as always with you. Talk about some little bit of wrestling. And what are we going to talk about today, sir?
We're gonna talk about probably one of the most controversial lists I think in wrestling, or the hardest ones to talk about is Mount Rushmore of wrestling. So
Yeah.
I know I have my four, you have your four. I'm interested to hear other people's Mount Rushmore wrestling in the comments section too. So shoot those out and let us know who's in your top four and why they are in your top four.
But I don't know, man. Vince, you would have put Vince on your Mount Rushmore.
I was thinking about you gotta think about it. Without him, where we
That's
at? Why would we wouldn't be where we're at today without him? You
that's
gotta think
tough,
about it.
man.
Huh. You gotta think
I mean,
about it.
obviously,
He actually did. He became he's done everything in the business, bro. He really did everything. He wrestled.
I forgot that he wrestled.
Come on, bro. He did everything.
Yeah, dude, fell off the
He was
cage.
behind the scenes. Like he got in the ring, brother. He did the hell
Yeah,
in
he did.
this. He did cage matches. He did it, bro. He put his body on the line for the business, brother.
Yeah, that's one of the things, dude. And there ain't that many billionaires that
How
would
many
do that.
owners you see that do that shit? Like they said that shit started off with Shane being the maniac. No, Vince was the first maniac, bro.
Imagine,
Shane took that shit to the extreme. But
who's that? Who's the Cowboys owner? Is it Jerry Jones?
you don't see him out there. You know what I'm saying? He'll
Time to
suiting up. You
put
don't
a
see that
helmet on
motherfucker suiting up.
and line
Put the
up.
helmet on. But I'll do it. And you motherfuckers
Yeah,
ain't
so
doing it. I'll do it shit.
I mean, this ain't even about the controversy.
But
That's
yeah,
gonna come for sure. I mean, it is what it is. But there is no wrestling
there's
without
no
Zero.
none.
I mean,
It's
if
gonna be a
there
sad
was
day in wrestling when he passes away, bro. Like motherfuckers gonna look at him like,
there would still be wrestling. I mean, but nowadays probably not. But there
it
would have been
wouldn't be as
wrestling.
big as it was.
No, it would still
I
be
don't think wrestling wouldn't be where it is today without Vince McMahon.
it'd still be
It
wrestling.
became worldwide. It's wrestling. Everything was
It would be
territorial.
wrestling
Still, it'd
still,
be wrestling. Still,
but it wouldn't be sports entertainment. We wouldn't have the
sports
family.
entertainment, and it's like you gotta think international. It went worldwide, bro. He took that shit around the world. He really did that shit.
Mhm.
Like WWE is just now getting back into going worldwide, but you gotta think about it. He, he took Hogan and shit over there to Japan.
Yeah. What was his name over there? Didn't he have like a special
For,
name?
I forgot what Hogan's name
Same,
was
man.
over
So
there. I
much
know it's
we
Gaijin.
know.
I gotta look it up.
But
I'll
I
look
mean, yeah,
that back
Hogan.
up.
So
He
going for
actually
number
wrestled
one,
over there, bro. I've seen him do a drop toe hold, bro. He
but
actually
that was
was
the thing
like,
over there in Japan. It's about holds. It's about actually like real wrestling, being able to do the holds, and he broke his stuff over there, man.
hell yeah.
He broke his leg, right?
I think they did or something. I think they did.
So I mean, if I guess if we talk about the Mount Rushmores, like you said, Vince, but that's if we stick to wrestlers, I guess.
We go wrestle. I'm gonna go
Yeah, you just
Hogan.
gotta stick
I'll
to
go Hogan
okay.
over there
Why Hogan then?
because I got the Rock. Like I said, you see, I had the Rock. I got Taker. I got Taker on there.
I don't have Taker on mine.
I got Taker, the greatest big man. You gotta think
So
about it, bro.
I was talking about that with my daughter. I was like, she's like, how do you not put the Undertaker on there? Because number one, you ain't gonna have another character like him. You can't recreate it because he was
No,
perfect, greatest character probably ever,
yeah,
greatest
but
worker.
it's
Let's
just
do
because
it. And that dude was like one of the last ones who truly kept it by the originality of kayfabe for as long as he possibly could. He didn't play around, and
he didn't.
it's tough. I mean, he had the streak, but I guess I'm more of with the impact. Now Taker when he first came out, that dude scared me, man. Like
He
when I
scared
first
me,
saw him
dog.
with the
The
purple
impact,
eyes and
like he
all
was
that,
the first
that was
believable. He was a believable. Like this nigga's dead, bro. I'm scared. Like,
it was tough.
like,
It was tough, but I can't personally have him. So, but let's just
oh
screw
man,
it. Let's
I'm
start with the
sorry.
Hogan one though. Like so, Hogan that
Okay,
was now as I mentioned the other one the other day is that Hogan was like my biggest influence back then. I actually did take my vitamins. I guess probably the Flintstone
I took
vitamins.
vitamins and drank my milk, bro.
I
Yeah,
drank
I
my
had
milk too.
Hogan vitamin.
I,
Oh, if
I
I didn't drink
grew
my vitamins, I was drinking Flintstone vitamins. I was eating them Flintstone
exactly the
vitamins. He said,
Flintstone one.
"Drink your vitamin." Yeah,
It tasted horrible. Flintstone vitamins, by the way. It's like chewing
he
concrete.
said,
But Hogan, that was my influence growing up. So that one was the biggest one, and then it's sad that some things are said as we get old and you find start to hear some things and how
Yeah.
people really are. They always say don't meet your heroes, right? You have to
Right?
say that.
They'll never meet your heroes or your idols,
But
bro.
I mean, if we worry about controversies, then no one's ever gonna make the list because everyone's no dirt. No one's
Everybody's
perfect.
got something. Exactly.
We're all humans trying to evolve and make ourselves better. But Hogan, man,
Yeah.
go
Yes.
ahead, man. What do you think makes him on your Mount Rushmore?
Well, I mean, obviously, I was the Hulkamania. He was my introduction to wrestling. He's like the immortal Hulk Hogan. Like it wasn't for him, you thought you could be a superhero, bro. He's like that's a man right there, but he is hulking up. You know what I'm saying? Like um, it's funny. His name's Hulk. His name is Hulk Hogan, but he's based off of kind of like the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah,
The Incredible Hulk was actually my favorite character. Smash is short from Hulk Smash. I mean, that's
that's
what a lot
true.
of people don't understand that too. For me, so even though him still in that character and they're making big influence on my life. So
Yeah, it's when you're a kid, dude. Everything changes in how you view people, and you still believe in heroes at the time. People
he
could
was a
possibly fly. There
superhero.
could be a Superman somewhere, right? But seeing the dude come in and all of a sudden he's just ripping his shirt. You're a young kid and you're like, "Oh, I can't do it. This
I couldn't
dude's
rip my shirt, bro. I
dude,
was about to
dude's a
talk about
yeah,
that. I was thinking about that earlier. I was
yeah,
like,
he's
man,
a
didn't
superhero.
didn't realize he had cuts in his shirt that could actually rip it
I,
easily.
I choose not to believe that. Still, he has to be strong, man.
Oh
He got
man,
those. How many with those pythons? You would call them
the pythons, bro, the
the
24-inch
pythons.
pythons, bro.
But just he was the basic wrestler though. But it was his charisma that carried him over. Like the
Yeah,
fact that he would do command the crowd. I think it was probably like one of the first that really did a good job of commanding the crowd, letting
yeah,
them hear the little "I can't hear you" type of
yeah.
thing, right? And then obviously doing up the hulking up. And I think that little video, if you want to click that, you'll be able just to show what we're referring to, because that would get me juiced. When I would see
Like he
that,
was getting whooped he was getting
the
whooped,
whole thing,
and then
man.
boom, nope. Like he's about to. That's it.
Yeah, Ric
Like
Flair.
you messed up now. You
Yep,
know.
exactly. So, but when you think of Hogan, though, what do you think is more popular with his image? Is it the fact of the red and yellow, or is it also the black and white NWO?
Ooh, so I mean, depends on what time of the like. I grew up as a Hulkamaniac. Obviously, when the first time I saw him, he was a babyface. He was Mr.
Yeah,
All American. You know what I mean? Like, but to see him join the NWO, and this is a man that had never been a bad guy. Well, I guess he was a bad guy before at one point in time before, but
yeah, but
in the WWF,
well,
he
definitely.
always was the baby face. He was the face of the company. So to see him be the bad guy in NWO, create a whole new character basically, and to be the bad guy, and he still, it was still great. You couldn't. Everybody loved it. You still was a Hulkamaniac, but it was just
Yeah,
he was bad now. You grew with him. You
yeah,
understood. He's like, I'm the boss now. I'm taking over this.
yeah. I don't think there was anybody because Andre the Giant was a fan favorite for a long time, and I think he
Yeah.
was heel a little bit, but he turned heel for specifically for Hogan. And
For
that was
Hogan, exactly.
game changing as well. I mean, you saw the promos that they had together, but Hogan, as far as me, he has to be one of those like undeniably ones on those Mount Rushmore. So, Mount Rushmore. I had to do my research on because I always think Mount Rushmore. Every time you talk about it with somebody in sports, it's like, all right, Mount Rushmore. You start listing five people. You forget that Mount
Right.
Rushmore is only four. So you run out of spots
Four.
really quick when you mess up. But I would say between you and I, he has to be undeniably number one. And again, take
Yeah.
everything out of there personally, but we're talking about straight what he did for wrestling and the impact he had as for us as kids and trying to do the right thing. Maybe he didn't do the right thing, but who
Right.
knows? He can still he turned his life around, and we kind of forget people and just don't forget.
He
So
had a good message, man. He had a good message for the kids. Like he really was a
yeah,
true hero, bro. He was the American hero. You thought that was the American icon. I'm like, I want to be like Hogan when I grow up. Like
I just don't want to be bald like that, because
yeah,
honestly,
man, he looked like he was going through it. Well, I
he
was
was
like, dude, you gotta think that dude was like our age now,
he was
but he was look at him.
he was going through it. I remember him
So
always
he was
talking
our
about the
age,
fact.
brother.
What about his big leg drop? It's a
Uh, uh,
simple move, but
the simple move, but it was so
I kick it
over,
out.
bro. I mean, like it, which we. That's funny. I think that'll lead into one of my Other, other favorite all time wrestling moves, finishers at the end.
Yeah. So I guess between you and I, number one, then right? He has to lead
Oh
off
yeah, for sure.
Mount Rushmore.
He leads off for me for sure.
So I mean, that was obviously your Mount Rushmore for number one, but technically, I guess that would be mine as well.
That's
So,
yours too. So we
all
could
right, so we got
get
one covered, and there's three left.
yeah. I know Jacob Fatu. He went down to schools down that way too. I don't know if he trained with Booker or not for a minute. I know
The dude's a
Rikishi had
beast.
trained him,
The
but
dude's a
yeah,
straight beast, though, man. I was watching some of
he
his.
is. I've seen footage of him before, and I was like, on the independent circuit, he's a monster, bro.
Did you see that video of the guy? It was somebody else posted how much of a ruthless guy he was. He had injured the guy, it's part of it, right? He injured the guy. They come
Right.
in with the gurney. Two people are carrying him up. He jumps up to the turnbuckle, does a backflip while they're carrying him out of the ring.
Wow, bro,
But
that's
that
wild.
dude's legit. I don't know.
Hell yeah.
So if I had to say what I guess my number one pick would be, even though again Hulk Hogan is my number one pick, but I guess if I'm gonna go take my turn, it'd be
Mm.
Ric Flair because I don't
Flair.
think
Okay.
the guy has a huge impact. I mean, not even just in entertainment, but like sports. Everyone knows Ric Flair.
Oh man, he pop culture icon, bro.
When we
Pop
go
culture
to
icon.
sporting
Everybody knows who
events,
Flair was.
you go to football games, basketball games, baseball. There's always going to be somebody saying in the crowd
And somebody woo.
all the
Okay.
time. Anytime you go to the wrestling events, dude, how many times do they just
How many times you hear
nonstop,
a random woo? Yeah.
nonstop? It's just a random move. So, but
I almost, I got a Ric Flair shirt. I should have put. He's on my list too, but I had to move him down
uh-oh.
because,
So, what number would
uh,
you put him?
ooh, like I mean, I'll probably go with number two up there for you,
Still
like
okay. So yeah, it's still
because
two then,
yeah, I
right?
got
Yeah.
to go number two as well, but I reason why I didn't put him on my. He's not. I didn't put him on my four, but I would,
Oh, so he's
if
not
I
on your
could.
four at all. He didn't
He's
even make
not.
the
He's
list.
not in my top four. No, I think I'll be honest. I think I replaced him. Probably go with the Rock on that one. I put him because
Okay.
Ric Flair talked on the mic, but to me, the Rock, he I mean,
Did
he
both,
kind of
right?
embodied. He could talk on the mic too, and Ric Flair has even said the Rock is the greatest talker on the mic.
Yeah, he definitely is. And
So I that's
but Flair, man, that guy
he,
gets Flair is
Flair got down. He got down
Flair
on the
is
mic,
Flair.
but
Flair, that
yeah,
is him inside and out of that ring, as he's mentioned many
that's him
times.
all the 24/7, bro. There's no
24/7.
kayfabe with him.
But
The
it
kayfabe
was
turned to real life.
he didn't even have like a dominant physique at all. He was just a regular dude out there in his little undies, whatever it is, and the boots and his white hair, right? But he
The
was,
white
man,
hair, I remember.
the
The
dirtiest player in the
crimson
game.
red though. That's what I always
Yeah,
remember. The crimson
it's red.
red blood going through it. That red,
Yeah,
blood going through that hair, bro. Like
always, always cut, always
so
hurt.
he's
He's I think they said something like he's like 0 out of 100 climbing the turnbuckle. Trying to do a high. He's like 0 out of 100, man.
I've never seen him. I never seen him. Bro,
Never.
I don't think I've never seen him hit a high risk move. I don't think he always
Huh?
get up there, but he always it would be the throw off. It would be the boom and that back, and like he's the greatest. One of the greatest sellers there was, bro. So I
That was
knew
one of
he's
the
there.
memories. I got a memory of that as well, being
Sell.
like 4 years old and then just pretending that you're hurt, and all of a sudden you take 2 steps and you just fall, face forward.
Yep.
That's what he would do
Yep.
all the time.
Face
And
forward.
a little hilarious. I mean, he also made the figure four pretty popular as well. I know he took it from another person, but he's still everyone knows that's his move as well.
That's
It's,
Flair's move. Yeah, it
yep.
became his move.
But his promos and he would probably get you amped. Like, go ahead and play that
Oh yeah.
next one right now if you want that other video.
Yeah.
But
There you go.
man,
That's Flair.
he's insane. There it is. I don't think
Yeah.
he's going to be able to die. I think Father Time is
Dude, I
skipping.
was gonna say, dude, that's gonna with that. It's gonna be like Willie Mays type thing, bro. He's one of them. People gonna be
That's Father
hurt.
Time. It's going to be yeah. There's a few ones that I've talked about before that are going to hurt when that day comes, and he's going to be one of them. Hulk Hogan will be that one's going to
For
bring back
sure.
all the childhood memories with this
Mhm.
guy right here, man. And
Yeah.
he definitely hated Eric Bischoff. I know that. He didn't like
Oh
him.
yeah.
He's mentioned that many times. And that guy,
Eric Bischoff came in there and ruined that man's life. He ruined his thing, bro, because he was still running. He was still running that company at that
oh yeah,
time, bro. He came in there, brought the NWO in, and let them run rampant, bro. And threw him to the corner. That was Flair's
yeah,
company still.
if he could,
It was
he's
in the
probably still
it was in the
wrestling.
90s. Like man, he had been
Yeah,
running that for like 20 years, bro. You gotta think about it. At least 15. He had been running since the 80s, 70s, 80s.
his hair is hella funny though, man. Like,
Oh yeah, that's just
but Flair, he. I'm trying to think about him. What else was I gonna say? That fool almost died in a plane crash. Ric
yeah,
Flair,
he
dude.
survived. He
That's what I'm saying.
survived, bro. It's
He ain't gonna
destiny.
die. That dude's gonna carry on. I think we might actually go before him because I know we talked about that many times. We on deck for that upper room compared to him.
The upper room, the upper room.
He is not going anytime soon. But
I got
all right, so we got Hogan number one, both of us.
mm,
Number
yes,
two, just because of his impact on wrestling, would be Ric Flair. I didn't think he was the greatest
yeah.
wrestler or anything like that, but it's like again, we're talking
His
about
impact.
people who started wrestling or just at the biggest impact, and he has to be number two for me, at
He's just as
least.
big as Hogan.
Doesn't mean he's my favorite,
Yeah.
and if it was like, hey, who are your top five or top four best wrestlers, he wouldn't be on there. But again, Mount Rushmore, biggest impact for me, he's number two. So I guess
Mm.
going with you, who would be your number two?
Man, my number two is Bret the Hitman Hart, man. The excellence of execution. You know, the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be, brother. And the reason why I say this is because he took over the company basically. He put the company on his back
Yeah.
when Hogan was gone. He was the man. We talked about a little bit in our last podcast about how it was supposed to be Ultimate Warrior that was
Yeah.
supposed to really take over the company, but it ended up not being him. You know, Bret Hart took over and was the face of the company. You know what I mean? So he
Yeah.
just his he was a what I loved about he was a technical wrestler. He came from old school. He came the Hart Dungeon, and just think about their impact on wrestling. To think how many champions have come out of that camp. We can list all the champions that came out of their camp, including Jericho, the infamous Chris Benoit. You know, he came out of there, brother, the dungeon.
Yeah.
Natalia.
Oh yeah.
Look, the Hart Foundation. Just
The
look at
Hart
the
Foundation is just
British.
synonymous with
Every the
wrestling.
whole. Come on, British Bulldog. Owen Hart. The Black Heart. Damn it.
Yeah.
You know, he's great. One
He's
of the
not a
great. And
nugget.
to
I'll
think
tell you
where
that.
he could have been. He could to think. Before his tragic passing, think about where
Absolutely.
he could have been.
Good stuff.
You know.
As a
So
kid, he
as a
was my
kid,
favorite as a kid. We talked about
yeah.
so it went from Hogan, got me into
Yep.
wrestling. Then once you get a little older, then became Hart. And
Yes, sir.
just his outfit was unique as well. He still had the original spandex type of thing, the original shoot
Yep.
wrestling, and the fact that
Shoot wrestling. Yes, sir.
he was so good at wrestling, just all around technical wrestler. The fact that he made you believe everything he was doing was real, from his
Everything.
punches, kicks, every single thing he did, he took it with great pride.
And it was calculated. Well, that's why I say he was a true tactician. And every move that he made in that ring was for his next move. It was setting it. Everything was a setup.
Right.
He would beat on the leg, and that's one of my favorites is we would go take him over to the corner and start working on that knee. Start working on him, and yeah, hit that leg. He even hit the figure four the turnbuckle, man. I mean, around the ring post, man, to soften up that leg. Later
Oh
on for
yeah.
the sharpshooter.
Yep. Go ahead and hit the video, but
Yes,
that
sir.
was one of the things that I missed back in the day about old wrestling, the fact that they would focus on a part of the body and really make us tell the story. The fact that they go after the leg, and he would do that because obviously, and oh, sorry, his back, right? He would target the back as part of
Back
his
as
finisher,
well. The,
right?
the back body drop, man. I see the back
Yep.
body drop
And
was one of his
the sharpshooter.
the back breakers.
There you go. And so, I mean, but that outfit right there, that was iconic, and the fact that he would always give away his glasses to somebody, a
Man,
child,
that was a big thing.
Oh,
I had a pair of the glasses, man.
did
I
you
had a
really?
pair. I bought a pair. I didn't. He didn't give them to me, but I bought them when I
Right.
went to WWE. They sold them, man. It was crazy because it was like a rubber band and a little styrofoam for the.
Yeah.
But it was dope. They were dope. I loved it. I was a huge fan of that.
That
You know.
guy. So here's the thing for me though.
Hmm.
He was my favorite growing up, like in that big period of time. But it
Yeah.
was just when you get older, you watch back. But again, he got kind of too. I don't want to say basic, right? There was just no evolution of him other than being the shoot wrestler who did everything right. His mic skills were so to me, and the fact that he didn't elevate with the time because that was when the transition started to happen into the Attitude Era. And he's
Right.
respect to him, but he's a very really high on his morals, right? And you can't take that away from
Yeah.
a
He
man. You
was.
have to respect it. but he didn't like that with his children watching it. He didn't like Shawn Michaels and what he said. He didn't like Stone Cold drinking all the beers, whatever you want to call it. And then he didn't like where it was
Yep.
going with Vince McMahon. Have you ever seen that documentary, the Wrestling with Shadows?
Yeah, I've seen a little bit.
That's
I
that
think
was
I've
one of my
seen
favorite
parts of it,
documentaries
but
ever.
it's a great one.
It's
That was a
amazing.
great one.
But he was good. He could have a wrestling match with anybody. But I think it was just the fact that comes down to it when the Montreal screw job. And, as a kid, you're like,
Yeah.
damn, he got screwed for sure. As you get older,
Yeah.
you start to realize, what's best
What
for
happened? You
business.
supposed to do Sorry, I was
No, no,
you're supposed to do what's
exactly,
best
man.
for the business, brother. You're
Yeah,
supposed to do what's
you
best for the
have to.
business.
And it was going to carry on. I mean, everyone knows who he is, and he wasn't just because he lost in WWF at the time, what it was called. He was not going to go to
Mm,
WCW and then be looked at as a jobber. No way. He,
no.
whether or not he won the belt, and he took, man, that guy again. He thought everything was real for sure because he did not want to lose in Canada to Shawn Michaels, and that was a
Right.
personal issue with him. And after that, it was his. Unfortunately, man, his career was never the same as well. Right when he left,
Mm,
they didn't have no plan for him in WCW, but yeah, for sure. I mean, he's everything you said. I can't even deny anything that you said. It's
yeah.
just more of his personality now. That guy is really hurt, but I guess you could say that guy loved wrestling so much. That's his life, and
That
yeah.
was his life, right? Yeah.
But he's you. And then again, this is not one where I could argue to say take him off. Sure, for sure.
Actually,
But
let me
I
load
do
up
want
the
to
next
watch
video.
episode 2 though of that
Oh yeah.
WCW because I don't know how many videos they're going to keep making, how many shows over WCW and the death of WCW and all that. I mean, it is what it is. Vince, I just don't give Vince any credit for what he did.
Cause he killed it. Yeah, he
Yeah.
helped killed it.
But the
You know
fact
what I
is that
mean? So
WCW kept pretty much, I'm not talking bad, but they kept bringing old wrestlers, ones that were already, signified in the game.
they were
Everyone knew who they were,
has-beens
but
by then, but
again, they weren't evolving with the times. And Vince took a chance and he started bringing people up. So, if I had to say why, what was WCW's biggest mistake to me? Not being able to do anything with my number 3, which would be Stone Cold. Everyone
yeah,
forgets that Stone Cold was in WCW and did not have a plan for him. He had the long hair. They just didn't know what to do with him. Let him go. Comes to WWF at the time and WWE, whatever you want to call it, and just he ran with it. They gave him an opportunity, make something of yourself, and that guy ran with it. And again, as I mentioned, the fact that he took us to the next level with wrestling and sports entertainment, being able to take that ball, run with it, and then catch up in the ratings with WCW, it was insane. As a kid, everyone wanted to give the finger, everyone wanted to crack open the beers, everyone wanted to have that type of mentality of being able to say what you wanted to say, and he was the first one to do it. So, I mean, for me personally, number 3 has to go to Stone Cold. So, what are your thoughts on him as well?
man, huge influence on me as a kid. He was like I said, he was the first. He was like the first real. You got to think he was the first baby face that really had more of a heel personality. He actually
Yeah,
blended them together. There was like you never really saw like, hey, he's beating up, he's jumping people in the back, beating people up, but you're like, hey, let's go. That's not what you cheer on as a. You don't cheer the guy that's jumping on people, beating people up in the back.
you're
Usually
right.
that. But Stone Cold he was the first, like you said, his like you say, even his debut to me, the King of Ring debut
Mm,
when we got the Austin 316.
yeah,
He come on, he really was the antithesis. He was a bad guy. Everybody like he was getting booed, but he said Austin 316 means I just whipped your ass. This is in reverse, until like think about he really was getting at Jake the Snake Roberts. He was talking about you Bible thumper and all
oh yeah,
that
yeah.
stuff. Like that was huge at that time. You're like, oh my God, this guy's going against he's really against,
He's crossing the line.
the establishment.
Yeah, he
He's crossing
was.
the line, the bottom line, and that's the bottom
That's the
line.
bottom
Like to
line, man.
know that he came up with that right there on the spot. Like
So
he was the first. Like the people don't give his mic skills were immaculate, bro, man. But the fact that he's out there, what he talked about, he backed it up too. He's out there. I'm opening up a can of whoop ass. He was out there every week, whooping ass every
yeah,
week. So
he was, and he was the
you
first.
couldn't wait. I was just like, man, what's
Exactly,
Stone
man.
Cold about to do this week, bro?
That's
What's he
exactly
gonna
what I was
do?
about to say.
This,
You would not know what was going to happen every single
no,
Monday, every single pay per view. I mean, here's this guy couldn't cut it in WCW. comes here. Now he's facing off, pushing Mike Tyson in the ring. He's taking
bro.
out Vince McMahon, the first guy to knock out Vince McMahon in the ring, right? The fact, that
Yeah,
was, knock somebody out. That was your number two, two, Bret Hart knocking out Vince back in the day. But when it came
yeah.
to knocking out Vince in the ring, Stone Cold. The first time he did that stunner on Vince and he killed him. That was
It
probably
looked
the
like he
worst
killed him. It
sell.
looked like he hadn't seized it out.
That was the worst sell ever.
Like, I was like, oh my god.
But then being able to fill up Vince's Corvette with cement, driving his monster truck into the ring, spraying everyone with beer. It was just
Right.
new levels, new heights, and again, I think he could have even been even bigger. But again, everyone gets, I guess, maybe some time tired of what you're doing, and he lost some love for the
Hmm.
game. But I mean, shoot, we were at
Yeah.
WrestleMania this year. You and I, we were in
Yep.
Philadelphia. And how many times was the crowd hoping Stone Cold was going to come out at that last minute? I mean, it was a great finish with Taker. I mean, I loved it.
Yeah.
But seeing and hearing that signature glass crack, that would have made our night for sure. But
That would have
that
made
was
my
great.
night for sure. Oh yeah.
So, yeah, but I mean, for me, number three definitely is Stone Cold Steve Austin. So, cheers to Steve,
Good.
man. All right, man. So we got Hulk Hogan, number one for both of us. Number two, Ric Flair. Number two is Bret Hart for you. Number three,
Yep.
I went with Stone Cold. And it's obvious from the video who you're probably going to pick, but who's your number
Oh
three,
yeah,
man?
and then I got to
And your
represent,
shirt, huh?
man. You know, and I got the shirt, man. I
There you go.
know.
You know it.
Yep. You have, you need to know your role. Your
Sure,
role, know it. Okay.
exactly, man.
To
It's
me,
number three.
man, he was one of my all time favorite, the Rock. And people don't know from our hometown, brother, our
Hayward.
hometown of Hayward, California. He was born in our hometown, so of
That was huge.
course that's huge for me. Him, one of the biggest action star right now. He was one of the biggest action star. Came from our hometown. He was born out here. I know he moved around a little bit, but hey, there's something in the water out here. You know what I
I
mean?
guess
Like the
so, huh?
greats come from out here, brother.
But yeah, not just
So
him. His entire
yes,
family.
sir. Not just him. Like I said, his entire family. We talked a little bit about this the other day. Rikishi, right across the water in San Francisco. The Usos, the whole bloodline. You see who's running the whole industry right now
It
on
definitely
Friday Night
is, man.
SmackDown, and you see on Monday night. So you see main event Jey Uso. They really got him closing out the shows, man. He really is the main event now. So love seeing that. But back to sorry, I
Right.
got sidetracked. Talk about The
It's all
Rock.
good.
We talk about The Rock. His mouthpiece. It just is. That's what got him. His commandment. He was the people's champ.
Right.
He called the people's champ because when he would go out there, he commanded the crowd, bro. The crowd. You see the pop,
Yeah, he
the
would.
pop. But brother, it's look. You see the pop that he got just like for WrestleMania, like for
Mhm.
WrestleMania 40. Just him coming
That
out,
was the
just
same.
getting into it. Him infiltrating
Yep.
into the Cody Rhodes thing. I know they had to shy away from it because they was like, "Oh man, he's taking over." But at the same, to see the pop that he got for what happened,
Right.
like, come on, man, like the views, he still has it. Nobody when he be talking about the chills, like, bro, that see, I'm getting them. I got them right now. You get them,
Yeah,
bro.
you
You
do,
get
man.
them.
I felt him there
I
ahead of
remember
time.
you and me were talking about this. Like when he came, you like, bro, when he saw you, like, bro, did you see who came? Yes. We texting each other back. It's in the memes. I'm like, bro,
Yep.
all day.
Yeah.
He just think about how big that like that just see where he went from Rocky Maivia,
Wow.
and when he first came into the to WWE or WWF. And then, when he turned to The Rock in the Nation of Domination, one of the greatest factions that there was in WWE, and they don't talk about it. Everybody was a champ in there.
Right.
Everybody was a champ. They need to be in the Hall of Fame. Get back to that too. So The Rock could be in there two times. You know what I mean, for Nation
Yeah.
and for that. That's how good he is. You know
Yeah.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Exactly, man.
But that's when you first saw the real showcase of what he could do. Like, so they let him be himself. I had him as a baby face, but The Rock had more of a natural heel thing. But him talking, but people like, hey, he was talking shit, but people loved him though.
Oh
People
yeah.
was like, oh man, yeah, I still like him.
It's
Like
that.
he blended that. He blended that the heel. That was just at the Attitude Era. Everything got blended together. It was like your heels and your baby faces were still doing heelish type things. You had to
Right,
get with it was at that time. You got to get down with everything, by any means necessary.
right. And it's one of those things where we go back to trying to make sure that you have that constant elevation, and that's what he was
Yeah,
evolving nonstop,
evolve.
and he kept
Yes,
going from wrestling, but making the crowd feel like they were involved, making it seem real, and that's what he brought back. I think even right now, he started to see that wrestling was starting to become big, and he wanted a part of it. And he also made it
hmm
seem like he wanted the heat. He loves that heat, that attention.
yeah,
If you hate him, good, bring it on. And the fact that he knew that he was going to go somewhere with this new run, and then all of a sudden everyone started crying about Cody, and what does he do? Starts calling them all
Cody
crybaby
Crybaby.
bitches.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's Cody crybaby bitches he would call them. So that's
Bro,
insane.
the
And he had the
greatest the
nerve to do that.
heel, like
Yeah,
he brought the like he brought back the attitude era with this last little run, bro. Honestly, that was the first time you saw. You're like, oh man, like hold on, this is back. It's
yeah.
like we're coming back.
And one of the
What
other
he
things
did
he
on
would
the
have
mic,
was the fact that he had that feud with Austin, which I think brought
yes,
sports entertainment huge when it came to WWE. I mean, that pretty much took everything to a new level as well. When he threw, it was a Stone Cold into the Hudson for the
yeah,
IC
he
belt.
threw
And
it
then,
up
that was actually another thing too, was the fact that
through
they
the
made
belt.
those belts super popular. And they made some type of emphasis to be able to say that that actually meant something back then. Intercontinental champions, European championship, everything meant something. It
Hmm.
wasn't just how it is now, where it's like, okay, well, anybody could get it. The fact that you actually held the title for any belt was a big thing, and that actually lets you know if you were
Big
going to
thing,
be able to carry it on and go to the next level. How well you did with talking on the mic. And the Rock, man, I did not see him getting as big as he did. But once he started, that first time, I think it was, I remember it distinctively. He was a heel. No one liked him. And then he slammed
hmm
somebody and he actually set up the people's elbow. And the crowd just went nuts.
yes,
And then he took it off. And then
bro.
after that, he was just like Austin. He was a heel
That
that
was it,
everyone
bro.
loved.
That was it.
And it was insane. But yeah, I mean,
The fact that
he's up there for me as well.
the fact that his finisher was the simplest move in just like Hogan. You got to
Yeah.
think two of the simplest moves in wrestling history, bro. But so over, bro. Elbow drop and a leg drop, bro.
Right.
The people's elbow was iconic, bro. Like
Hmm.
everybody wanted an elbow pad just to
Yeah.
take it off and throw it, bro, just so you could throw it. And everybody did the rock flex, run across the ring. Everybody was doing it. I've seen people do. I know one time I did it as a kid playing baseball. Man, you did go across home plate. You know,
Exactly, man. He was filthy on
just
the mic though. His rhymes and being able to insult people. It doesn't matter who you were.
so quick. The
Exactly, man.
wit was so quick, bro. It was just like you're like, man, he's just coming up with this, man. Like it was just also like his tongue lashings on the mic, bro. Tongue
Yeah,
lashings.
and he was ruthless
Facts.
as a
That's what.
wrestler as well. Because I remember
Mhm.
his matches with Foley and those chair
Oh yeah,
shots. He didn't hold
them
back at
chair
all.
shots, bro. Jesus, I don't even know how
That
Rick. I don't know how Mick is still walking around, brother. I'll be honest with him. Like he should. And honestly, we could get into that. We'll have an honorable mention to Mick Foley, bro. Because I'm
yeah,
saying, I'll
that's a
say
tough one.
honorable mentions. Too.
Because yeah,
We'll probably
that
we
is
get
very
to
tough.
that.
We'll do an honorable mentions episode. Because
Yeah,
our list we've talked about it many times. Top 10, right? But we're just doing the Mount Rushmore.
oh yeah,
I
for
know, but
sure.
he's definitely up there. But The Rock, it's do you like pie? It's when
Oh
he
yeah,
when
yeah,
he
I
had
love
that
pie.
insult, man. He's like, "Do you like pie?" And then they had the Rock and Saw connection. That was
Yep.
huge. So he could work with anybody. So yeah, I would agree. He was up there for me as well. I only got one spot left, so it's tough for me to say
Yeah.
he's on there. All right, man, we made it to the end. It's one spot left for me on my Mount Rushmore, and that spot will obviously go to Shawn Michaels, the Heartbreak Kid. Everyone knows me. Knows that that's my favorite wrestler of all time. And of course, you have to find the video of him fighting Hulk Hogan. Oh my God. Well, that was I love that actually clip though because he oversold that so much, and I think he did it on purpose because no one ever thought that he would actually lose to Hogan at all. Zero. There's if they really wrestled, no. Hogan was old by then, but Hogan, you had to go by the lore. And that's one of the things I loved about Shawn is that his name is Mr. WrestleMania. His record at
Yes, sir.
WrestleMania is not very good. That dude loses to almost
No,
everybody. But he also is called the showstopper.
the
He
showstopper.
will steal that show. He could be the second match, and he's going to tell you, go ahead and follow that. But he was my favorite all the time because, again, it kind of goes back to what you mentioned about Brett. That guy can wrestle with anybody. He was the smallest, one of the smallest wrestlers, and he was able to have a match with somebody who was 7 foot. He would be able to also make it look like he got his shots in. He could actually hurt you, even though he is small. One of the best off the top of the rope, technical wrestlers. Very good on the mic as well. Not the best, but he could hold his own as well. And he probably took things personally, which messed things up for other people because he said some comments that probably weren't right. But he was the best seller, in my opinion, that made it look real. Ric Flair, as I mentioned, he was good selling. He took a beating as well. But Shawn made it look extremely real. And one of the things that I think for me as a wrestling fan, it was tough, man, seeing him get hurt in, I think it was 98, right? After the Stone Cold
Yeah.
WrestleMania. And he was gone for a while. And that was my favorite wrestler. And the fact that he lost out on all those years, and then obviously he had some behind the scene issues with his health and taking in some of those pills, unfortunately, and the drinking. But, again, it goes back to just saying we got to keep to who the wrestler is and their journey. And it's not an easy sport. It's not an easy lifestyle. And that guy was just amazing, though. And I still love that guy. And I'm glad he's doing good. And he's responsible now for bringing up the talent in NXT. And he's just
Oh,
constantly
word.
building up people left and right. So, number 4 for me, my favorite, Shawn Michaels. So, your thoughts on him, man?
Man, honestly, one of my I don't know why I didn't put him in my top four, but he's up there. He was influential. Keep it real. He to me, he was the start of the Attitude Era. He was the first guy on the mic saying him and D Generation X. They were the ones
Exactly.
telling you to suck it, bro. And like the influence that they had on us as children,
Exactly.
across the whole United States. It wasn't just us as children, but it was the whole It was the whole anti-authority. Like, hey, I don't like what you're saying. Suck it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
the
exactly.
what they were talking about was wild. The thing, like, I look back at some of that, I'm like, ooh, I was like 11 or 12 watching this, But the thing, but that's what it was. That was the culture at the time, brother. It was real anti-authority. We were
Yeah,
going through a lot in this country and everything. So, they're called DJ. They're from that
yeah,
Generation X. I know we're millennials, but I'd say we're part of the older millennials. We were really highly influenced by Generation X. So I always say like so D Generation X and Shawn Michaels. I always love that. To me, that I feel like that's more me than anything, because that was
same here.
part of us, growing up as a kid. And to
Yeah,
watch him go from the Rockers, I like I said, we've been watching this for a long time. I remember
yeah,
when he
yeah.
was Shawn
Rockers.
Michaels with Marty Jannetty, bro, the
Exactly.
barbershop scene. And I was like, holy, like as a kid, I was like, wow, he threw his friend through a glass plate
Glass
window.
window.
Like, wow.
No remorse.
No, that's when he took off. He took off right after that moment. I knew he was going to be the man. And think that they let him. He took the belt off of who? He took the belt off of Bret Hart first,
Yeah,
right? His
yeah,
first championship. Think about it. He became the guy of the company. You gotta think.
exactly.
Vince was like, "You're going to be our guy." For you know, Bret was the guy to take the company after Hogan, but he was like, "Shawn, you're that guy."
Yeah,
So that's huge to think about it. And it wasn't a big 7 footer, these guys were kind of, according to, probably average size or small compared to what they had in the 80s and stuff
of
like that.
course.
Those guys are huge. About WWE, people don't talk about that. It was called they were called Titan Entertainment. They had the biggest wrestlers. All the guys were huge. Like all the guys were over 6 foot, bro. Oh,
Yep.
huge. Like six,
Good time.
like you gotta think about how big. What Hogan's what 6'6", 6'7",
I
and
think they said he was like 6'8" at first. Now he
six
says he's
eight, bro. Like I
6'4".
mean, they probably
Yeah.
downgraded, but you got what? Think about all the big like Rock was still big. Yeah, he's like six
Oh yeah,
five,
of
bro.
course.
So he's a huge But later on, he still had the size that
Of course,
Vince
yeah.
wanted. But think about Shawn Michaels, and he's not no 6'5", bro. He was small,
No,
but he was athletic. He was a high flyer. That's what I loved about him. You know, like the fact that I love the Sweet Chin music. He got a super kick
it's
over
my
it. That was
favorite.
great. That was some of the tune up the band, bro. And that was on my that's a finish, bro.
That's what irritates me now. That's what irritates me now with wrestling though is the finishers. I think we talked about a little bit the fact that finishers don't
Mm,
mean finishers anymore. They just mean keep doing it 100 times and spamming that button just because you have that extra finisher or whatever, right? But they would
mm,
do one finisher back in the day, and that was it. Match is
yeah,
over. You ain't kicking out. There is no ifs or buts about it. Now you could do a
nah,
hundred, you know, switch in, to the face, and it's like nothing, right? No bruises, no nothing, right? But
nothing.
the fact that it was back then one and done, and that's how it used
Yeah.
to be, and he was perfect at it. Any work that was like almost like kind of like our generation of the RKO of nowhere. He would
Out of
set that
nowhere,
up
yeah. That
and
sweet
boom,
chin music, bro. Set up,
exactly.
boom, that kick, bro. As that one super kick, and it sounded. It never looked like he missed it. Like some people they'll
Like
miss a
real,
super kick, and it looked like he never. I never saw where it looked. To my knowledge, I can't remember seeing him hit it where it looked like he didn't hit it. You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
Like he had the greatest super kick I've seen, bro.
Yeah, and then you'll find somebody in the comments who'll be like, "Nope, look at here, video 17 at 145, he
Well
missed
then that's fine. We could. Hey, that's what
it."
this is. That's what this is for,
I ain't
man. This
watching.
is
Yeah,
all
man.
about.
Oh,
We're all about
absolutely.
this.
For sure. But for that guy, he wasn't the biggest. That guy had the biggest ego for sure. That guy
Oh,
sang
for
his
sure.
own theme song. He's a sexy
Yeah,
boy. Come on, man. That
sexy boy.
so one of the true greatest of our generation, probably one of the greatest ever. I mean, even my number two, Ric Flair says that's his greatest wrestler of all time. He thinks he's the greatest
Yeah.
in ring performer ever. Not on the mic, but greatest technical wrestler, everything like that. For me, Shawn Michaels. So that's my number four and my final Mount Rushmore. All right, man. So that was my four. Now we're on yours. So who do you got, man? What's your final slot?
So say my final slide, Mount Rushmore is I'm gonna say you talked about Mr. WrestleMania earlier, but I'm talking about the real, the true WrestleMania, Mr. WrestleMania. Undertaker. He had the streak
He did
that
have the
came to
streak.
an end, but yeah, I think he was the real Mr. WrestleMania.
Yeah.
The time, one of the greatest characters I've ever seen. Like when I first saw the Undertaker debut, I remember watching was it Superstars or was it Raw? It was one I can't remember which
Hmm.
one, but he came out and I was like, "What is this?" He came out here
Scary.
with Brother Love. It was scary, bro.
Scary, man.
Scary. That was '91, so when I was 5 years old, bro. So I saw that man just come out. I'm like, like it's like Tales from the Crypt. I don't know. I'm like, what is this? He's they say he's a dead man walking, and it's scary.
Yeah.
But what got me later on, the part I know he started out with Brother Love, but when they brought Paul Bearer in, I think it made it even. Paul Bearer made it more believable than Brother Love did. No lie, like
Of course.
Bruce Pritchard. We can't talk. Just Paul Bearer and Undertaker meeting that match was perfect, bro. Like because the makeup and and
Yeah.
him worshiping that
The
the
urn.
the urn and just you would see when he would lift it up and then it would be like Undertaker would sit up and it was terrifying, bro. As a
Right.
child, you're like, man, he commands all that, and then to see what they did for his character, he didn't. What makes it the reason why he's on my Mount Rushmore is like his size, man. Like I think he was 7 footer, bro. He was a 7 footer, 300 something. They say he's what 315 at the time. I think when he came in, he's gained weight. He went up and down, but to see him, his athleticism, man. Like obviously, he was the first big man you see jump. He did a
Mhm.
suicide like it was over the top rope, bro. Suicide
Right.
dive over the top rope, bro. It's a jumping clothesline like
Mhm.
over the top rope, but he's flying over it, bro.
Exactly.
You imagine how 7 foot, 300 pound man landing on you, bro. Like that's scary. And they called it his old school move, but what it wasn't growing up, it wasn't his old school move. Him going to the top rope. You ever
Hmm.
seen a big man go to the top rope, walk across the top rope? Yeah, he was holding their hand, but to see a man of that size
Yeah.
keep that balance still and then jump down and smack you, and just that size, just man, it was amazing to see that. Like, we've seen we got to watch him do it, bro, at
Yep.
WrestleMania 31, man,
He did.
against Bray Wyatt, RIP brother,
Yeah, man.
So we were fortunate to see that. We got to see it live, So I'm glad to say that, we saw him at the WrestleMania after he lost on the streak. They got to put him back on it. So that was pretty cool to see. But
That was.
um at the time, I'm not gonna lie, when he lost to Bray, I was like, oh, that wasn't. I feel like he should have lost to Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania to make him the next big dead guy, the next big character. But to see
Mhm.
what Bray did after that and still become as big as he did,
Exactly.
I love that too about it. Because I thought they should have did it right then, but they let it develop some more and let him still develop, and he ended up taking it over and did his thing later on. But
Mhm.
just to see the evolution of Undertaker as well. You saw he went from the dead man to, he really went to the corporate ministry when he was like super gothy, like
Yeah, he was
that,
Gotham.
Hello, Stephanie. He was scarier then, bro. Cause
Yeah, he
he remember
was.
he had the Taker didn't talk at first either.
No, he didn't at all.
The thing about he
Zero.
didn't talk. He just walked out there and just his aura was the scariest thing about it. The man didn't have to say a word, bro. He went out there
Yep,
and fought and
that was
yeah,
it.
then when the Attitude Era came around, they got him on the mic. He's even scarier on the mic. He's talking, like and he's talking that crazy shit, big,
Exactly. Yeah.
he's talking big, almost like, man, this is satanic. This is scary, almost demonic. You didn't know what was going to happen, especially when he had the Ministry of Darkness, man. That was pretty scary. Then blended it with the corporate ministry. You're like, man, this is Illuminati
Yeah.
type stuff, man. This
It
is
is
like,
right.
wow, you
Exactly.
know.
He evolved again
And
though to a
then
American
after
badass.
it came back. Then bam, the American Badass. To see the evolution of Undertaker. He always came back. He came back better every time too. He didn't come back worse. With all he came out doing, I think the American Badass was probably more like his natural character. In
Oh yeah, that
him,
was
I feel like it
him.
was just him. He
Took
just
a
got to
break.
turn it up.
Yeah.
Took a break. I'm gonna go home and ride my motorcycle and chill out and come back. And he came out there, man. I remember we came out there with Rolling, you know, keep
Yeah.
rolling, rolling, rolling with Limp Bizkit, and then he
That
had
was
obviously
big.
he had Kid Rock as well with American Badass. That
Yeah.
was it was pretty cool, man. To know that it blended, and that was blending your like two different worlds. So you got your Rock, which was at the like MTV,
Hmm.
and WWE. They blended together, kind of. It was part of
Sure.
that culture at the time. Man, I don't know if you remember Shotgun Saturday Nights, man. They
Yeah.
used to come
Of
on
course.
MTV, bro. We used to watch. It was a wrestling show on MTV in the middle of Times Square. It was so fun. It was good.
It was, man. That's I mean, this is gonna be one of those hard ones again. Just like you said, you don't know
Yeah,
why you didn't put Shawn on there, and I don't
yeah,
know why I didn't put Undertaker on there. It's just he didn't make the list as far as for me. But it's like again, how do you not put him on there? I mean, we're gonna have to invest. I mean, maybe if we make it big one day, we'll invest in to Mount Rushmore just so they can add another president or something like that, just so we can add another fifth wheel to our list. Because
man.
this is the hardest thing to do is truly make a list of just four top wrestlers who have the biggest influence. Because again, we'll do another episode where we just talk about top 10. Because again, as you mentioned, Mick Foley, that goes with Undertaker. They go together as
Oh
well.
yeah,
That was probably the biggest moment in wrestling, being able to throw him off the cage and not kill him, and then
you're
go
right.
through the
And we thought
cage,
he died,
not
bro.
die again, and then go into some attacks, and then that was just huge. His rivalry with Kane, fighting his own brother. You believe that was his real brother at the time, setting him on fire, and just continuously to, as you mentioned though, evolve his character. Why he was able to stay around that long. He was one of the longest reigning wrestlers with a longest career that was
Oh
that
yeah,
active. But not just active, but actually doing it the right way. And again, he said he retired because he didn't want to be disrespectful to the business. He saw his body start to go. He couldn't perform as well, and he didn't want to do it to credit
no,
the rest of the wrestlers. So I appreciate that. Sean was the same way, but
yep,
again, hey, to each their own. They want to keep going, they keep going. Maybe Flair needs to stop for sure. I mean, I love that guy. He's my number two, but man, he
yeah,
almost died. He almost had a heart attack or something like that. He was dying on his
yeah,
last retirement match. But
right,
Undertaker, as you mentioned, when he brought the body bags out and actually put somebody in a body bag, like that was it. I thought they were dead as a kid. Like he
yeah,
just
man.
killed somebody.
Yeah,
But the Undertaker losing to Brock, I wish he would have lost to Shawn. But then again, that made his retirement that much better because again, I thought he was
yeah.
going to win, and I think everyone thought that. But Brock, I
That
guess
was one of the
at
greatest
that
matches ever.
age, yeah, it was one of the greatest. But I think at that age, if you're being realistic, right, and that's what Undertaker said too. The fact that Brock was a specimen, a monster. It's
He was a specimen, and
how do you
it
beat
made
him?
sense because that was when, to me, at that time period. Also, it made sense because he had came out. He's supposed to have been dominant. He came from the UFC. He's the most
Yeah,
dominant champion ever. Yeah, I think he was the most. He's the only person who's been in the wrestling ring. He won UFC as well, and he won what state collegiate wrestling championship. Like,
insane, dude.
yes, that's believable.
Freaking nature.
That was believable. Combat sport wise, he's supposed to
Yeah,
be on paper. He's the greatest of all.
yeah,
A lot of
man.
people don't give Bobby Lashley his credit. He's the same thing as Brock Lesnar. A lot of people
I
don't give
love
him
Bobby
like
Lashley. That dude's a beast as
a
well.
lot. And he's actually, I don't think did. I don't know if he actually ever lost in MMA. I think he might have lost one match or something. I think Brock got two
Yeah,
losses or something
just
like that. But I think Bobby got one or something like that.
yeah, man. So I mean, that's our list, though. I mean, I think we did the best that we
Oh
possibly
yeah,
could. I wish we had more spots, as we mentioned, but let's just do a little recap. I had uh, for number one. my greatest as of right now, and your greatest would be Hulk Hogan. Number two for
Hogan,
me, Ric Flair. Number two for you was Bret Hart.
Bret
Three, I
Hart.
had
Yes,
Stone
sir.
Cold. You had The Rock. And our final last spot was for me, Shawn Michaels, and for you was The Undertaker. And again,
Yes,
you can
sir.
kind of put them any order that you want to. I mean, they're on there, so that's all that matters. But I think again,
Right.
at least we agreed number one was Hulk Hogan. Again, that was our biggest influence,
Yeah.
and
The most
I don't know,
influential, you know,
I don't know
if
how you don't
like I
have him.
said, what for Hogan, we wouldn't. But without Hogan, this podcast wouldn't start, brother. I'm gonna tell you right
Yep,
now. So that's what we
exactly.
grew up. That's what we. That's what. That was our love for wrestling. Start began was Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, man. So maybe we'll
So
just continue it next time with maybe the next slots that we would have put in there. Maybe five, six through 10, and just go from there. Or biggest stables, as you mentioned, the Nation of
yeah,
Domination. Compare them with DX, the Authority,
yeah,
whatever you want to call it, right? So that's another
right.
topic for another day. But man, this was a great conversation, and if you enjoyed it,
Yes,
man,
sir.
send some comments as well. Let us know who your Mount Rushmore is, and hopefully it's better than ours, and put an
And
argument of why somebody shouldn't
oh,
be on there, man. But man, hey,
yeah.
thanks for hanging with me again, sir. Amazing time as
Thank you. It's
always.
always a pleasure, man.
All right, man. Until next time.
Yes, sir.